Rage, unrest, and frustration boiling over across Connecticut following the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis. The demonstrators want sweeping change. So what needs to be done? We'll ask Congresswoman Jahana Hayes, State Treasurer Sean Wooden, State Senator George Logan, and Pastor Jeremy Williams. It's all straight ahead on Face the State this Sunday, June 7th, 2020.
From Eyewitness News, Connecticut's most watched local political program, this is Face the State.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dennis House. We begin with the very latest on the unrest across America and in Connecticut. You just saw the headlines on Eyewitness News this morning. And now we continue the conversation of a sensitive and very difficult topic, race relations. With us today, the U.S. representative from the 5th District of Connecticut, Congresswoman Jahana Hayes. And Congresswoman Hayes, nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. I want to ask you, when you saw the video of George Floyd being kneeled on in Minneapolis, what went through your mind in terms of the situation of racism in our country?
I think, like so many other people in my district, in the state, and across the country, I was first heartbroken. I was so incredibly sad that this was something that was playing out on the streets in this country. And it wasn't black and white footage that I've seen before from the civil rights movement. It was right now. And first I was heartbroken, but then I immediately was scared. I picked up the phone and called my sons because I wanted to know where they were. And I realized that these are socialized, normalized behaviors where I instinctively thought, I need to check on my children.
Do you believe that President Trump is fueling some of these activities, these racist activities across the nation?
I think I'm not happy with the leadership that we're seeing. I think that this would have been an opportunity to bring people together. Some of the responses, some of the reactions are definitely fueling the situation, but I also recognize that change is going to come from so many other places. And what I can do is lead from the front, to set an example of the type of leadership that I would like to see, to work with people in my community. Because if I'm waiting for that from someone else, it's just not going to happen.
There are some Democrats who argue that the president is a racist. Do you believe he's a racist?
I don't know what's in the president's heart, but I ran on a platform of visionary leadership, of trusting that people had enough good in them where if we talked about things and collaborated and communicated. The last couple weeks have been extremely difficult for me. I represent a district that is overwhelmingly white, almost 80%, but I trust that those people have good in their heart and we all want the same things. And I welcome Republicans, anyone, to join me in the work that needs to be done, because I don't think that what the president is leading with aligns with my values.
Congresswoman, where do we begin to start improving race relations in Connecticut and across the country?
I think the first step is to acknowledge that it's happening. I'm shocked by how many people are still trying to justify or explain some of the actions that we've seen. And be assured that I'm not against the police. This is not anti-police. This is anti-police brutality. My husband's a police officer, puts on a uniform every day. But we have to first acknowledge that there is a problem. And it didn't start with George Floyd, and it didn't start with even police brutality. It's all of those other systemic and underlying issues. And I mean, let's be clear, Barack Obama didn't do everything right, but we have a responsibility to make this generation better than the one behind us and move forward.
I want to ask you, former Vice President Joe Biden, the presumptive Democratic nominee, has said that he will pick a woman to be his running mate. There's a lot of talk that that person should be a black woman. What do you think?
Oh, you froze for a second there. I think that he has committed to choosing a woman. I think he should choose the best woman for the job. And fortunately for him, there are several black women who are right at the top of his list, who are highly qualified and can help him bring forth the agenda that he wants to bring forth. Vice President Biden has laid out the things that he proposes that he would do in the first 100 days to address some of the things that we're hearing about. And I think a Black woman by his side would be extremely helpful in helping to move that agenda forward.
You endorsed Kamala Harris for president when she was running. She is also on that list that the vice president's been talking about, along with a woman who's sort of a rising star in terms of the list right now, and that is Val Demings. She is a former police chief in Orlando. You work with her in the House. What do you think of those two women to be his running mate?
I think either one of them would be tremendous running mates. I continue to support Senator Harris. I am confident in her leadership and have known her for quite some time and gotten to know her even better. But again, Congresswoman Val Demings is a steady hand, steady leadership. She's fair, she's impartial, and either one of them would be a tremendous choice for Vice President Biden.
Do you have an endorsement?
No, I haven't done an endorsement. Once Senator Harris dropped out of the race, I had been consumed with COVID-related legislation. I don't want us to forget that we are in the middle of a pandemic, that we still have some serious health concerns that we need to address. So I hadn't really thought about an endorsement and was not working towards that. But I can say that I am impressed with the leadership that Vice President Biden has shown throughout this crisis and the plans that he has set forth.
What has been the reaction among your colleagues in Washington in terms of, has there been any discussion as to what they can do as a legislative body to propose some laws to perhaps improve race relations in our country?
There has been lots of legislation that's proposed. Just this week, I signed on to a commission for the study of the status of Black men and boys. I mean, we have had legislation to stop police brutality, some resolutions to prevent the use of force, the Eric Gardner anti-chokehold legislation that was put forth by Congressman Hakeem Jeffries. But I think the thing that we need to remember is that this Congress voted on the Emmett Till anti-lynching bill. 2019 was the first time that bill passed. It had been introduced over 200 times. This is not as a Congress, we cannot boast about being the most dynamic and diverse and have the majority without leading from the front and being clear as to what our values are. And that cannot just happen from Black legislators. We need everyone who feels that this is morally reprehensible, that we have to make some systemic changes to work together to move our country forward.
Congresswoman Jahana Hayes from the 5th District, we appreciate you joining us this Sunday. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you soon. After the break, our conversation continues with 3 more local leaders. We welcome you to watch past editions of Face the State right now on the WFSB app or on our YouTube channel.